These are just some of my thoughts on some videos I've been watching about people trying to debunk reincarnation, the theory of reincarnation. And I think maybe I have a different angle on it. I see reincarnation as not just like a re-emergence on this planet. Just, you know, using modern scientific methods in medicine and theories in evolutionary biology, and you know, looking at how life emerged, you know, gradually over time on this planet. And then, you know, we have modern day, you know, astronomy also, which is the astronomers have you know, sent these instruments out in space. We have the space telescope. We've had a lot of satellites, you know, imaging systems that we've put in orbit around the Earth. You know, we have these observatories out there, and then they've discovered that the universe, as we understand it, is very much larger than anyone can imagine it to be. And I say that with some hesitancy. You know, I'm a little bit kind of disturbing in a way to imagine that you can't imagine how big it is. That's how big it is. In Dr. Filipinko's class, Professor Filipinko, he discusses the background radiation, the microwave background radiation. And what they've done is they sent this higher resolution observatory. After that was the gamma ray observatory went up first, but the temperature, the microwave background temperature was so, the gradient was so fine in detail that the instrument didn't make any good resolution pictures of the remnant microwave background radiation. And the WMAP, that's the new one that took the higher resolution pictures of the sky. And there's been some ideas about, well, they can see patterns of the microwave background radiation variations. Those patterns may be repeated on other parts of the map. Now, if they can find two of the same patterns on the map, it may mean that they're seeing around. They're actually seeing around the curve of the early universe, because that's just a fossil, ancient, very, very ancient picture. It doesn't really display things as they are right today. It could be just that picture goes back so far that it's a relic. It's actually like a fossil. You know, it's prehistory. It's very, very ancient. And getting on about reincarnation again, okay, my thoughts are that the pattern that makes up my identity, which is the cells and the nerves, and then also you have on top of that all your experiences that you've had throughout your life, add together to make you a continuity of a person. So when you lose that continuity because of whatever reasons, like anesthesia or you die, then the memories that you have are part of your identity. Well, they are your identity, your memories and your functioning of your nerves, of your brain, as a physical organism. The idea of there being like a soul, like something that could survive independently of the organism, like you can take, like, let's say the computer's running, and you can take the energy that's that pattern of energy and make it in space somewhere else without any physical medium to bring about the energy. So the pattern is lost. You know that when you die, the electrical activity of your brain ceases, and you die, and there's no perception of the passage of time. And this is what has always really gotten me, and I'm sure if you've seen my other video, I'm reading Alan Watts' book, On a Mountaintop, Cloud Hidden, where he discusses reincarnation. And he poses the same dilemma, that when you're going to sleep and you're never going to wake up again. And that always bothered him as a child, because where are you spending all this? If there's no time, then why do you concern yourself with the past, the present, and the future? at that point, you aren't there, so there is no time. So when people say, oh, these odds, and they talk about probability, and they talk about like these huge numbers, right, and the vastness and these quantities, you know, and how and how everything is just so, it's just so, like, everything had to be in such a certain way, the constants, you know, the laws of nature that make up the, you know, the gravity and electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, that those constants, any different, any the smallest difference of degree would have made everything, life would have never been possible as we know it. But that doesn't matter, because if you're not there to know this is going, the time is passing, then it's a ridiculous idea. So nobody could ever prove it, because even if you lose, your identity's lost. The continuity of your persona just disappears. So if you happen again, then you wouldn't know that you already had been before. There would be no evidence. You couldn't bring up any hard data, to verify that idea. So it is like, understandably, it will always be a theory. No one will ever be able to prove it. And these people that have written about, well, people coming back in their lineage, like they're like a great uncle. They were their great uncle, or they were their great aunt back so many generations in their family line. And that's one of the other ideas, is that it's Lamarckian, the transfer of physical acquired characteristics, the transfer of acquired characteristics from one organism through the gametes into another organism. And we know that memories are a physical construct that happens by impressions on the nerves, and they're not something that the nerves carry with them over from a previous existence, as far as we know. Unless they can find, like, in a laboratory, maybe they can take some kind of organism and map it in its detail on its genome entirely, and then reproduce it again and make it exactly the same, but then again, the problem is time, and the perception of time, and the individual identity, going to sleep and never waking up again. And the possibility of there being a multiverse, then it is possible that, the materiality that makes up who we are could occur again if the patterns repeat. All the same events lined up this time around, line up again in another time. Then reincarnation, yeah, is possible, but you don't have any memories. You're not remembering anything. You're not carrying any of the structure of the past into the present, because the gap has been broken. You can't get past the singularity. It just collapses. Everything, all the memories and everything collapse. So the next time around, there's a new person, but there's no connections to that if it was before. I mean, it's physically impossible. How could there be? Anyhow, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Maybe it's kind of a far-fetched idea, but I hear a lot of other people talking out there, but they're talking about, I think, identity pattern theory, like the ship of Theseus. If you took the ship, took all the parts, took it completely apart, and then put it back together again, would it be the same ship? Ancient idea. Anyhow.